Kia ora. This is John Winters, Supermarket Sleuth, talking to you once again from Auckland in New Zealand. And what are we talking about this week? New owners have chosen to lead Asda into the next stage of its life in the UK. The new owners of Asda supermarkets in the UK, after regulatory approval by the government, will be I think it's either the ISA or the ISA brothers and TDR Capital, after agreeing a £6.8 billion deal with Walmart. The deal should be done by the first half of next year. The billionaire founders of the EG Group forecast business and the British private equity firm will be having an equity investment in the business, with an ongoing commercial relationship and a seat on the board. A statement commenting on the decision said, "At the time of evolution in the UK food retail sector, the new owners will continue to build a strong and successful business, benefiting from fresh capital and expertise, as well as valuable links with the world's largest retailer." The brothers, backed by TDR, said they will support and accelerate Asda's existing strategy. From Blackburn, the low-profile entrepreneurs have built a small family business into an empire with around 6,000 forecourts in 10 countries and €20 billion annual revenues. TDR Capital now owns half of the EG Group, with the two ISA brothers each controlling 25%. Asda already has a relationship with them, having recently developed a new Asda on the Move convenience format to be trialled at EG forecourts in the Midlands. Walmart says Asda will keep its headquarters in Leeds, and Chief Executive Roger Burnley stays. He will be joined on Asda's board by representatives appointed by the ISA brothers, TDR Capital and of course Walmart. The new owners plan to invest over £1 billion in the next 3 years in Asda to strengthen the business and its supply chain. Also, they made a commitment to raise the proportion of UK-based suppliers, increasing the volume of products such as chicken, dairy, wheat and potatoes purchased from local suppliers each year, as well as a commitment to source 100% British beef. Asda will still have access to Walmart's global sourcing scale. That's a key factor. Why is it a key factor? Because if they have access to that, then when Walmart buys a particular product, they're added onto it and they get the same price because of the volume Walmart buys in, whereas the volume being bought for the UK would be much less, and so their unit prices would be higher. Now let's take a quick look at what's been happening in the UK during this awful pandemic. German discounters Aldi and Lidl, which only sell through stores, have missed out during the pandemic as more sales moved online. But they're hoping to claw back business as the economic downturn is expected to push shoppers into seeking lower prices. Or maybe not. Industry experts say their recent rapid growth and competition from traditional supermarkets will make it harder for them to take more business from rivals in this recession than in the last one. But Aldi is not a retailer likely to sit back and twiddle its fingers. It plans to open 100 new stores and create 4,000 jobs after profits surged by 49% in the year, it says. This will involve pumping a £1.3 billion investment into the stores by the end of next year. It's part of a long-term plan to grow from 890 to 1,200 locations in the UK by 2025. Aldi's suggested investment in the UK in its 30 years in the country will go into upgrading existing stores, distribution centres and innovation across its operations, it said. This comes as Aldi reported sales increased by 8% to £12.28 billion in 2019. Pre-tax profits jumped by 49% to £271.5 million for the year. After pledging to invest a record £1.3 billion in expanding its operations and rolling out its new click and collect service, it's been suggested that Aldi is on track to overtake Morrison's to become the UK's 4th largest grocery retailer. Commenting on the discounter's plans, Susanna Streeter, Senior Investment and Markets Analyst at Hargreaves Lansdown, commented, "Aldi has been behind the curve online, but it's now pivoting its model to click and collect, and also trialling a delivery service with Deliveroo. Keys to sustaining its growth given the grocery shift to digital sales. Following a trial with staff, Aldi launched its click and collect service to the public from its Loughborough store. It's the first time its grocery items have been listed online in the UK, with Aldi planning to expand the service to a further 15 stores over the coming months. And with panic buying happening again, following a spike in demand, Tesco has joined Morrisons in reinstating the rationing of some essential grocery products amid the government's latest restrictions aimed at curbing a second wave of COVID-19. Morrisons said it was limiting consumers buying items such as soap, rice, toilet rolls, of course, disinfectants and bleach to a maximum of 3 items. It has also applied some caps to online orders. Meanwhile, Tesco is introducing a 3-item limit on some key groceries such as flour, dried pasta, toilet rolls, baby wipes and antibacterial wipes. Tesco said its restrictions apply to all stores with some additional limits online. Waitrose has revealed plans to close 4 supermarkets with the loss of 124 jobs, but one will be reborn as a Tesco. It'll shut its Caldicot, Ipswich, Corn Exchange and Shrewsbury sites and sell its Wolverhampton store to Tesco. The Caldicot, Ipswich and Shrewsbury stores will close on December the 6th. All 140 staff at the Wolverhampton store, which will shut on December the 31st, will be transferred to Tesco as part of the sale. The closure is part of an ongoing review of the Waitrose store estate, which started in 2017, before the COVID-19 virus came along. But its overseas expansion is still ongoing. It's opened a new convenience store in Dubai as it continues its partnership with Fine Fair Food Market. It's the British retailer's 6th shop in Dubai and its 12th in total in the United Arab Emirates. The 4,000 square foot outlet in Al Barari, in the heart of a residential development, and it sells a range of Waitrose products from its essential and number 1 ranges, including fresh fruit and vegetables, freshly baked bread and food to go. So in other words, it's all their own products. It's all private label or own brand, as we would say, or those produced in store. Now we move to robots. Amazon has said it's creating a new team of engineers as its Cambridge Research Centre to develop its Scout autonomous delivery technology for possible use in the UK, in other words, robots. Currently being tested in 4 states in the US, Amazon Scout devices are the size of a small cooler box and run along pavements at a walking pace to make deliveries to customers' houses. And they're about, I suppose for the average person, they might be as high as their knee, and they're very visible, so they can be seen. Amazon said the Cambridge team would work with its Seattle's research lab to further develop software and systems to help the devices safely navigate pedestrians, pets and other obstacles found in residential neighbourhoods. The Co-op became the first retailer in the UK to trial autonomous robot deliveries when it teamed up with Starship Technologies in 2018. The convenience retailer recently extended the use of the devices across Milton Keynes due to increased demand for deliveries during the pandemic. Now we move to brands. Reckitt Benckiser is said to be preparing to sell some of its non-core personal care brands, with the likes of Beiersdorf, Henkel and Unilever named as possible buyers. We've seen this happening with other global brands, and I'm sure there'll be many more of these reports coming through. According to sources quoted by Reuters, the package of brands up for sale includes Veet, Clearasil, E45 and Skoll. Shooting down under, Australians consume a substantial amount of meat. Depending on the source, figures suggest that Aussies in recent years have been eating almost 110 kilos per capita each year. In contrast, 1 in 3 Australians are limiting their meat consumption, while a further 1 in 10 are already following a meat-free diet. Life Health Foods and Food Frontier Hungry for Plant-Based 2019 report says. With obvious demand for genuine meat as well as plant-based alternatives, all segments of the market are exploring innovation and variety to keep on top of a wide palette of tastes and trends. Australian consumption of beef was estimated at 27 kilos per capita for 2019, according to Meat and Livestock Australia's Market Snapshots Beef and Sheep August 2019 report. In 2018-19, beef had the highest share of retail sales of any meat, with around 34% share of fresh meat sales by value, according to Nielsen home scan supplied by MLA. MLA believes there's an opportunity to increase beef's appeal by reinforcing quick, easy and convenient ways in which it can be prepared for everyday healthy meals, especially when it comes to boosting consumer confidence in preparing beef, according to an MLA Global Consumer Tracker Australia 2018 report. In 2019, Australians were estimated to have consumed 8.6 kilos of lamb per capita, according to the MLA Market Snapshots Beef and Sheep August 2019 report. Awareness of lamb is also high among Australians, says the MLA Global Consumer Tracker Australia 2018 report. Lamb had around a 12% share in 2018-19 of fresh meat sales by value, according to Nielsen home scan supplied by MLA. Consumers perceive lamb as special relative to other proteins and are often choosing it because it tastes delicious, according to MLA Global Consumer Tracker Australia 2018. MLA, however, believes that opportunity sits with raising frequency of purchase and demonstrating the value of lamb. Now, we in this country, obviously in New Zealand, are famous for our lamb, but I only eat it about once a year because the reason it tastes so delicious, of course, is the fat, and it's a very fatty meat. So I do avoid lamb, I'm afraid, sadly, because I love it. Australians consumed 21.9 kilograms of pork per capita in 2019, according to the OECD Meat Consumption 2020 report. According to the Australian Pork Limited, that's APL Year in Review 2018-19, Australian pork maintained attractiveness to consumers during the 12 months, although APL says in its annual report 2018-2019 that Australians are less familiar with pork, which it says isn't as top of mind as much as beef or chicken. The trend towards chicken continues to grow, with Australians forecast to consume 49.2 kilos of chicken per person in 2020 to 2021, according to Australian Chicken Meat Federation. This is expected to rise to 51.5 kilos by 2023, and I eat a lot of chicken too, so we're big chicken eaters in New Zealand, and our chicken in New Zealand is grown here. Now we cross the Tasman Sea to New Zealand. There are worms in one of Auckland's supermarkets. New World in Auckland's Ariwa has recently installed New Zealand's first supermarket worm farm. They break down any green scraps and have an appetite of up to 8 kilos of organic waste a day. Additional food waste not given to the store's worm farm is further diverted away from landfill and donated to a local school near Ariwa, providing a 100% outdoor-based classrooms environment. The New World further reduces food waste in store by donating excess foods still fit for human consumption to food rescue organisations. And that's brilliant because there's so much food wasted in the world, and yet there are so millions of people who are starving. So it's good to see that our food in some ways isn't being wasted. Finally, the New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has promised to investigate supermarkets if her Labour Party is re-elected on October the 17th, but I can't see them having any success. Both supermarket groups will have all the answers to justify their prices. This is all about competition. The last Labour government, under the control of Helen Clark, way back in 2002, allowed Progressive Enterprises, one of the three players in the market, to buy Woolworths New Zealand. And that Woolworths New Zealand has nothing to do with Woolworths Australia, which cut down the number of supermarket groups from 3 to 2. Now, although Foodstuffs strongly denies it, we do have a duopoly of Australian-owned Woolworths New Zealand Group, which took over Progressive Enterprises, and New Zealand-owned Foodstuffs. Now, they took over Progressive Enterprises in 2004, 2 years after the number of supermarket groups came down to 2. Each of the supermarket groups insists on seeing the deals their competitor makes with suppliers, so you're bound to end up with similar prices between the two groups. Labour governments have had a bad track record when it comes to understanding how decisions made like the one in 2002 can work against consumers. Perhaps the next government might right this wrong by following in the footsteps of Australia and the UK by taking GST off fresh fruit and vegetables sold by retailers and, say, making up the lost revenues through increased GST on alcohol. That could solve 2 problems with 1 stone, or kill 2 birds with 1 stone, I should say. Right, well, that's it for this week. And you can catch me on Facebook on my Supermarket Sleuth or checkout pages, on the Supermarket Sleuth channel on YouTube, or at 10:45 on a Saturday morning New Zealand time on Magic Talk radio station. Just go to magic.co.nz and click on the orange lozenge at the top of the page. Catch you next week. Bye for now.